Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Tuesday at noon and is uploaded to our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, so you can watch it on demand. Today is June 25th, 2019, and now the news at noon.
This from the Cortez Journal. The Doe Canyon fire southeast of Dove Creek grew this weekend, but at low intensity. By Monday, the fire had scorched 90 acres in the San Juan National Forest east of the lower Dolores River Canyon. A swath of the national forest near the fire has been closed. The closure includes all land bounded by Forest Road 504 at the intersections with Forest Road 506 and all roads including 506A, 506-8, 506E, 506M, 506K1, and 215. The fire is at 7,800 feet elevation and was reportedly started by lightning June 18th. It was spotted June 20th and burns at the head of Doe Canyon. Because of good fuel moisture, the fire is mostly being allowed to burn to reduce litter and understory within an area bounded by roads. It is burning in Gamble Oak and Ponderosa pine forests with significant beetle mortality. About 21 firefighters are on scene. They were working to prevent it from moving into an adjacent timber sale area and from reaching the Dolores River.
Reported in the Journal, photo Camp Family. A toddler who suffered severe burns after falling into an electric roaster at a residence in Yellow Jacket is recovering at an Idaho burn center. Her mother, Samantha Camp, said her family was on vacation visiting a relative when the accident occurred on June 14th. The small trailer home has limited counter space, so an electric roaster cooking a pork roast had been placed on the floor and operated overnight. The address and homeowner were not made available. The next morning, the Camp family was cooking breakfast when 2-year-old Millie somehow fell into the scalding roasting pan, possibly thinking it was a chair. We took our eyes off her for a second, and that's when it happened, Camp said in an interview from the hospital. It was a bad accident, and we all feel terrible about what happened. It was a mistake to have that on the floor. The family drove her to Southwest Memorial Hospital emergency room and were momentarily delayed by construction. Southwest is not equipped to treat severe burns, so she was airlifted to Children's Hospital in Aurora on Flight for Life airplane from the Cortez Municipal Airport. Millie's recovery is going well so far, Camp said, and will take time. She has been hospitalized since the incident and is being treated at Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. Skin grafts were put on the exposed burns to allow time for them to heal. Once they do, the grafts are removed and Millie's own skin is harvested from one part of her body and put over the burned area. Quote, she is in pretty good spirits. Her siblings come over to visit and don't want to leave her, Camp said. The whole family is staying positive and supporting each other through this. The family is concerned about rising medical costs. A PayPal donation account has been set up for the Camp family. Donations can be made from a PayPal account or credit card to username CampJosh, Josh 37 at gmail.com. There were no charges associated with the incident. Montezuma County Sheriff Steve Nowlin said because it was reported by the hospital as an accident.
According to the Cortez Journal, between the town of Elko, Nevada and the Idaho border stretches some of the most remote land in the lower 48, rolling hills and arid basins as far as the eye can see. Last July, this section of the Owyhee Desert was scorched by a fierce, fast-moving blaze with 40-foot flames, the largest wildfire in state history. In the end, the Martin Fire burned 435,000 acres, including some of the West's finest sagebrush habitat. Now the raw range wind whips up the bare earth into enormous black clouds that roil on the horizon. Once rare, fires that large, hot, and destructive are now common in the Great Basin, a 200,000 square mile region of mountains and valleys that includes all of Nevada and much of Utah, as well as parts of California, Idaho, and Oregon. But despite the rising fire risk, a general lack of attention is putting the rangeland in growing danger. The fire problem risks permanent loss of the ecosystem, according to Jolie Pollitt, a fire ecologist and the Bureau of Land Management's Division Chief for Fire Planning and Fuels Management. This is a genuine crisis, she said, and it demands greater urgency and attention than it is currently getting. The new ferocity of rangeland fires has an old culprit, cheatgrass, an annual originally from Eurasia that was brought to this country to feed, in cattle feed, packing material, and ship's ballast in the late 1800s. It has since proliferated through overgrazing and development. The grass burns easily and often, and it thrives on fire. In intense blazes, when native shrubs perish, cheatgrass simply drops its seeds and then expands into the burned areas. The areas of the greatest fire risk in the Great Basin have a high correlation with the areas of the highest cheatgrass incursion, and the increasingly dry and arid climate brought by climate change is encouraging its spread. The Great Basin now has the nation's highest wildfire risk.
Reported by the Durango Herald, photo Jerry McBride. A pedestrian was injured about 5:30 p.m. on Monday in North Durango after being hit by a Durango and Silverton narrow gauge train. Two men were close to the tracks as the train traveled south past 31st and 30th Streets, and one of them was injured, said Corporal Juan Gallegos with the Durango Police Department. The injured man was taken to Mercy Regional Medical Center to be treated. He said Gallegos couldn't comment on the extent of the man's injuries. The other man was taken to detox, he said. Gallegos couldn't say how close the men were to the tracks. He also couldn't say if the train slowed down. The train stopped about 5:30 p.m. for the injured man. It was released to return to the depot shortly after 6 p.m., said Christian Robbins, a spokesman with the railroad. Passengers stayed on the train during the incident, he said.
According to the Durango Herald, preschoolers on government food aid have grown a little less pudgy, a U.S. study found, offering fresh evidence that previous signs of declining obesity rates weren't a fluke. Obesity rates dropped steadily to about 14% in 2016, the latest data available, from 16% in 2010, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported. The results were published June 18th in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The improvement affected youngsters ages 2 through 4 who receive food vouchers and other services in the federal Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Program. About 1 in 5 U.S. kids that age were enrolled in 2016. An earlier report involving programs participants that the same age found at least small declines in obesity in 18 states between 2008 and 2011. That was the first decline after years of increases that later plateaued, and researchers weren't sure if it was just a blip. Improvements in food options in that program, including adding more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, may have contributed to the back-to-back obesity declines, researchers said. Other data show obesity rates in 2016 were stable but similar, about 14% for children aged 2 to 5 who were not enrolled in the program, Blank noted. And now let's take a look at the weather.
So the weather story right now is the air condition from all of the fires. Smoke has really settled down into the valleys and over Dove Creek this morning. It should make for some more incredible sunrise and sunset photos for our Dove Creek Local Weather Photos Facebook group. Don't forget to post your pics and join the group. So today it may be mostly sunny with striping making for potential haziness overhead in addition to the smoke. Looking at a high near 81 degrees with winds 10 to 15 miles an hour from the south-southwest. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 53 with south-southwest winds continuing and shifting to southeast over midnight. Wednesday mostly sunny with a high near 82 degrees, breezy with a southeast wind 10 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south-southwest 15 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon, with winds gusting as high as 30 miles an hour. They've issued a fire weather watch starting Wednesday afternoon and extending through Friday because of these high winds and gusts. Wednesday night will be mostly clear with a low around 51 degrees, and again those southwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour may become south-southeast 5 to 10 miles an hour after midnight with gusts to 25. Thursday sunny with a high near 83 degrees and still breezy with a southeast wind 5 to 10 miles an hour, strengthening to 15 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Thursday night mostly clear with a low around 53 degrees, and Friday again no rain in sight, sunny with a high near 85 degrees. Friday night mostly clear with a low around 55, and a hot clear weekend is forecasted. Saturday sunny with a high near 84 degrees. Saturday night mostly clear with a low around 55, and Sunday sunny with a high near 83, and Sunday night mostly clear with a low around 54. And now Back to the news.
From the Cortez Journal, a new wind power generating farm is coming to southeastern New Mexico, bringing turbines and transmission lines. San Diego-based EDF Renewables recently announced that construction on the Oso Grande wind project will start this year, and the farm will fully operate by the end of 2020, the Carlsbad Current Argus reports. The project by EDF Renewables and Tucson Electric Power between will consist of 61 turbines in Chavez, Eddy, and Lea counties. Energy generated will be delivered to Tucson, Arizona, and the system will have a capacity of about 247 megawatts, EDF Renewables said. Tucson Electric Power President David Hutchins said the project will be his company's largest renewable energy asset and advance its goal of increasing the use of renewable resources. It will speed up the company's progress towards our clean energy goals while allowing us to help customers achieve their own sustainability objectives, Hutchins said. The project will eventually provide about 28% of the company's energy sales, and the company plans to use renewable energy to produce 30% of its electricity by 2030, Tucson Electric Power said. Production from the new wind energy operation is expected to meet the consumption needs of 100,000 homes, the equivalent of avoiding 680,000 metric tons of carbon emissions annually or greenhouse gas emissions from about 146,000 cars, officials said.
From the Durango Herald, a report with a file photo. About $85 million will be spent on highway construction and traffic improvement projects in south central and southwest Colorado this summer. The 30 projects in 16 counties in Colorado Department of Transportation's Region 5 are designed to increase safety and reduce traffic-related deaths and traffic congestion on roads maintained by the state. Quote, our objective is to improve the safety of Colorado's entire transportation network, CDOT Executive Director Shoshana Liu said in a news release. By investing in these improvements, we can enhance safety conditions for those traveling in the southwest and south central regions and ultimately reduce the rate and severity of crashes. The 30 projects in Region 5 will involve work on hundreds of miles of roadway, numerous bridges, 4 culverts, and several intersections. Work includes new construction and the repair of existing infrastructure. Quote, new construction may include lane widening, new concrete safety barriers, and the building of multimodal features such as new ADA sidewalks and ramps and paths. Works on existing structures may include asphalt overlay, chip seal, guardrail replacement, and highway striping, said CDOT Traffic and Safety Program Engineer Julie Constant. CDOT estimates that Region 5's 30 construction projects total $84.63 million and will employ 350 people. The projects frequently employ local engineering firms, construction companies, and subcontractors that make up a workforce of hundreds of workers. CDOT offers the following tips for safe driving through maintenance and construction work zones. Do not speed in work zones, obey posted speed limits, expect the unexpected, watch for workers, and drive with caution. Don't change lanes unnecessarily. Avoid using mobile devices such as phones. Turn on your headlights so workers and other drivers can see you. Expect delays. Allow ample space for the car in front of you. Anticipate lane shifts and merge when directed to do so. And please be patient. Travelers may gather information about weather forecasts and anticipated travel impacts and current road conditions prior to hitting the road. CDOT resources include cotrip.org and codot.gov for travel scheduled closures, or connect on social media through their Twitter account at Colorado DOT and facebook.com/Colorado DOT.
From the Cortez Journal, teachers in Durango now have an opportunity to apply for a grant to help take their students outside on science-based field trips. Great Outdoors Colorado, a state group that invests a portion of the Colorado Lottery into outdoor programs, recently awarded Colorado Parks and Wildlife a $6,800 grant to help support more K-12 field trip opportunities in Durango and Southwest Colorado. Catherine Bronze, CPW's Southwest Region Education and Volunteer Coordinator, said the grant is part of a partnership between GOCO and CPW to create a funding source for one-time innovative projects to support outdoor education. While grants have been used in the past to fund outdoor trips for students in other parts of Colorado, this marks the first time the opportunity is offered in Durango, she said. Bronze added that many funding pathways to support site trip opportunities in Durango have been greatly reduced since 2018. The field trip incentive program is open to K-12 teachers who must participate in a 4-day course. Then classes will be partnered with science education, field trips, and GOCO funds will help pay for fees and transportation. The program covers expenses for one field trip in the upcoming school year.
From a Colorado Public Radio report, photo from their website, home to just a few hundred people, the town of Nucla, Colorado, isn't just tiny, it's far from just about everything. Tucked into the western edge of Montrose County, it's 350 miles from Denver and 60 miles from the nearest stoplight. For generations, this area, known as the West End, was a hub for mining. Most famously, they dug for uranium here, and the area saw a big boom thanks to the Cold War era. Later, coal arrived to support a local power plant. Quote, "You think things are going to boom forever," said Jane Thompson, a 62-year-old longtime local. "They're always going to need uranium. They're always going to need coal." Well, always isn't really a good word you can use with mining. When uranium prices tanked in the early 1980s, the mines closed, and so did shops, bars, and both movie theaters. Hundreds of people moved away, and the area never really recovered. Decades after uranium fizzled, a new blow was delivered when Tri-State Generation agreed to shut down Nucla's power plant and the coal mine that supplies it to settle a clean air lawsuit. The plant and the mine were the town's biggest employer, with more than 80 workers. The mine is now closed, and the plant will shutter in 2022. When the news first hit, a former town official told the press that Nucla was, quote, "liable to dry up and blow away." At first, Donna Morris, who's been Nucla's mayor for years, worried that might be true and that this could be the death knell for this little place. Quote, "That doesn't last very long because we're fighters," she said. "You know, we have to pick up our britches up and keep going." Plenty of locals hope that mining returns in some form to the West End. Nucla's newspaper still prints the price of uranium on its front page. But people don't talk about mining being the area's savior anymore. There's got to be more than one answer, Moore said, of any economy solution. There's got to be more than one thing. People across the area, from Nucla, Natarita, and Norwood to the smaller communities of Redvale, Bedrock, and Paradox, are hard at work to figure out what those things should be. They're casting a bunch of seeds to see what takes root. Paul Kowski, who's lived in Nucla for 40 years, looks to its dark skies and wide open spaces for answers. Quote, "Because we are so wildness-like, so isolated, that's what we have to offer people in that solitude." He said, "There's so much public land here, and that's our gem." Kowski and other volunteers built a section of the Paradox Trail to help showcase it. As he trekked over the dusty rocky path, Kowski pointed out the bright blooming cacti and snowy mountains in the far distance. It was sunny and silent, and there wasn't a soul around. While he spends as much time as he can out there, he knows some locals are still skeptical about the value of attracting outdoor recreation. Recently, he's met a gaggle of cyclists camping nearby. They were totally enamored with this swath of Montrose County, especially since they had never seen or heard of it before. Kowski thinks a key to the West End's future is letting people know it exists. That's where Deanna Sheriff comes in. Quote, "If you like the type of stuff you find in Moab, but you don't like the crowds, this is where you should be," she said. That's one of the snappy lines she uses to market the area. Though the area's outdoor opportunities make for beautiful brochures, Sheriff knows that it can't be the only thing in its future. She's with the West End Economic Development Corporation, which started only a few years ago and now has a renewed sense of urgency with coal operations soon to wind down. The organization has made a commercial kitchen and co-working space available to locals and offers classes on how to start a small business. Sheriff explained that her hope is to help people develop a vision beyond mining. So far, nearly 30 businesses are in the works. Sheriff is working with entrepreneurs from out of town as well. One industry that has its eye on the area is cannabis. The first 2 dispensaries are in the works for nearby Natarita, plus a hemp co-op. And while much of this is yet to come, Sheriff said locals have seen things pick up here. There's more investment, too. The area has won a bunch of grants to develop the airport and beautify parks, and residents themselves have set up a charitable fund to support local organizations. The money comes from right here, with much of the trust made up of small monthly donations from Valley families. The hope is to help build a community that doesn't need coal or uranium, regardless of whether mining ever comes back. Mayor Morris thinks fundamentally, Nucla has something plenty of people want: a quiet life.
From the Cortez Journal, let the bidding begin on an estimated 20 acres of prime undeveloped U.S. Forest Service land in the Animas Valley. A few years ago, the Forest Service announced its intent to sell the mostly vacant property about 8 miles north of Durango at 373 Trimble Lane behind the Trimble True Value hardware store. Mark Lambert with the Forest Service told La Plata County Commissioners this week that bidding went live June 13th. The starting bid, it appears, is $50,000. As of Friday, no one had bid on the property. According to federal documents, the land is not connected to the National Forest Land System, nor of use to the agency for administrative purposes. The property is an old, long vacant horse pasture with few structures on it, and is surrounded by luxury subdivisions and a golf course. Lambert told commissioners money from the sale will be used to pay for a new office complex for the Columbine District Ranger Station in Bayfield. Because the land has been federally exempt all these years, it hasn't been appraised and its value is unclear. Land sales on adjacent properties, however, show just how valuable undeveloped parcels in the Animas Valley are.
And today's High Canyon Country happenings. June 27th, there's a free painting class at the Dolores Public Library in Dolores starting at 6:30 p.m. It's Thursdays evenings once every month from 6:30 to 8 p.m. No experience is required, and they provide all the supplies plus refreshments. Space is limited, so drop by the library to sign up at the circulation desk or call them at 970-882-4127 to get on the list. And in our local Reaching Out to Community and Kids, The Rock has a lot of activities on tap. Their Yes Club Youth Enrichment Services has 2 hangout parties coming up June 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. for ages 10 to 12 and June 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. for ages 13 and up. There'll be root beer floats, hot deli food, prizes if you bring a new friend, pictures with your friends, and a cornhole, washers, and ladder ball tournament with prizes. And on Thursday, June 27th, it's the Rock Walk-In Movie Night at the Dove Creek High School football field. The featured movie is Dumbo, and the movie starts at 8 p.m. There's free popcorn and soda. Bring your own seat or blanket to enjoy the movie. This is a family-friendly event for the whole community. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, original stories, and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us by email, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call us at the station at 970-677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is available online on our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page on demand.
Be sure to like us there on Facebook and join in on the news of our area. And of course, please share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.